Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Mindfully Curious podcast. I will be the guide of this conversation, this one-sided conversation thing we call the podcast. Thankfully, I have guests that show up to converse with me, making it a two-sided conversation that y'all get to enjoy and listen to. And I'm not gonna lie, I love listening back to these podcasts because every single guest has taught me so much through the sharing of their journey, and it's been an amazing experience. Today's guest is my sister from Sada Collective, Nikki Styles. Nikki is a badass woman. I look up to her because she is someone who is doing something that to me is seems scary and challenging, and well, many things that to me seem scary and challenging, and she does them with a full heart and so much courage, and I admire that in her, and I am so happy that I'm gonna get to share this conversation with her, with all of y'all. Nikki is a mother, a sister, a creative. She is a badass lady. She's a dancer, an iPhone-ographer. She is a fashion designer, a podcaster, a content producer. She describes herself as the friend that you come to when you need an idea. And I can tell that is exactly how her drive sources her magic, because she is open to creativity and she is open to experience and she is open to move past her fear, because I believe her curiosity normally kind of inspires her to put the next foot forward. And that, again, something I really admire and believe that cultivating habits like that, courage through creativity, courage through exploring the creative process, courage to explore our process, courage to create new processes when the old ones don't work no more. So powerful, so much gold to share here with you on this conversation. Once again, thank you so much for being here. If you like any of the content today, if it connects to you, if you think somebody could benefit from listening to this, I appreciate you sharing it. If you have feedback, I appreciate you sending it. If you feel like you have something to say and you would like to be held by this space while you do it, please reach out to me. You can always contact me via the interweb portals out there. I am at Rabbit Legion. You can also find a podcast account, which I have a really hard time maintaining and making look nice, at MF Curious. And again, that is just for the podcast. You will find links for all of that and more in show notes. I will make sure I have links for any resources mentioned during this episode, as well as Nikki's Instagram information, so y'all can reach out, follow her, watch her content, support her dream. If you feel called to, if you vibe with it, please make sure you don't keep that love inside of you. We need to share the love. Why do we need to? Because I say so. No, of course not. That's not something I would ever say. Because sharing love, ever since I have come to myself and made a promise to myself to never withhold love, life has been so much more enjoyable, and I found so much more beauty in spreading love rather than spreading fear, spreading my anxiety, and spreading, the unsureness. And the reason I love spreading love is because it's something that I can always feel grounded in. I don't know what the right feeling state is to be at any point, especially when I've been triggered or emotionally activated. But I do know that ever since I've used love to fill that space, to me, it feels like real fucking magic. That love can alchemize even the biggest of fears, the biggest of doubts. I'm telling you, y'all, it's the biggest mine. Beep. But love is the one. We could call it a cheat code, but it really is a key that unlocks all locks. And I highly recommend. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. And now, without further ado, here's a conversation with my sister in shine, Miss Nikki Styles. Nikki, thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to get to talk to you. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
And as I did prepare you, I always like to open up the conversation asking our guests, how did life look like for you getting here where you are today?
Oh, you want a short answer or do you want the whole shebang bang?
Up to you. It's your show.
So where I am today is different than where I was when I filled out the questionnaire to even be on the podcast. You know, so much has transpired in these couple of weeks. But to give a little bit of background, I was in North Carolina and I was working at a tire factory. Yeah, for Goodyear tires. I drove a forklift and I was like in my department, I was like trained in everything. So if someone was sick, I took their place. So that consisted of driving forklifts, doing inventory, and driving a train, which was actually like the coolest part. Like I kind of miss that. Um, but yeah, I came to visit California to see my brother. I got here, I was like, damn, I really love it here. If I had all my clothes and my kids, I wouldn't go back. But I went back to the tire factory and I was like, I'm just gonna save up a couple $1,000s and I'm gonna leave. And that's what happened. Saved up, came here. The road to getting here was paved with a lot of lessons. But currently I have so much going on. Like it's kind of hard for me to condense it all. But yeah, that's pretty much where I started. Like I drove here from North Carolina by myself, packed all my stuff in my little Kia, and I've never had to move back home since. I've been here 5 years.
From coast to coast.
It was filled with some couch surfing, some car sleeping, some hotel living. But yeah, I think I don't know. This next month is gonna be really interesting. So that's all I can say on that. But the road was broken glass. Broken glass.
Sometimes it's hot coals.
Broken glass, hot coals, all that. But yeah. But I wouldn't change it for anything. I learned a lot about myself and about others and just how to navigate life and learning how to get along with others. Like it's been quite an experience.
Dude, I bet. One thing that resonates with me from your story, well, one of the few, is that whole journey of making it from one coast of the United States to the other coast. And I would like to ask you a question. I felt, for me, my experience was I moved from Mexico to Denver, Colorado, and then from Denver, Colorado, I moved to Charleston, South Carolina, which is pretty close to where you were in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that I experienced more culture shock coming from Denver, Colorado to South Carolina than when I went from Mexico to Denver. Do you find your experience being a little bit similar, just seeing like the difference of the culture inside the United States?
Absolutely. Like North Carolina, it's starting to progress a little bit, but I left in 2015. And arriving here in California and just seeing so many different things, like I was taken aback. Like I grew up in a very Christian household, very, very religious. And just to come here and see, like, one of the biggest things to me was to see openly gay people. Like I think one of the first places I drove through accidentally was West Hollywood. And I was like, oh shit, okay, this is different, And I grew up around my mother and my father who didn't approve of that kind of stuff. And then just to come here and see it's so open and so celebrated, like that changed me as a person because I had the same beliefs as them. But now I'm just like, hey, whatever, man. Like you can't help who you love, and that was the biggest culture shock for me. And just like another thing that really caught me off guard was like the homelessness. And I used to play Grand Theft Auto a lot, and Grand Theft Auto was like centered around like LA. And I got here and I was like, wow, this is literally just like the game. Like it blew my mind. I was like, the buildings, the random people talking, like the crime. I was like, it's really real. Like, and I'm just a country girl driving around in places I had no business being in. And now that I'm like a little older and wiser, I was like, wow, I was really over here in this neighborhood. I didn't know anyone. I'm just exploring California in this dangerous part of LA. Like, why am I here? So that was a culture shock there, It's stuff to do out here. There's so much stuff to do. North Carolina, there's not that much to do. I'm not gonna lie. Like everyone has kids there. Here, not everyone has kids. So coming here and meeting people that don't have kids, I'm like, dang, when am I gonna find someone that I can really relate to? It took me a while to find my people, but yeah,
Oh my
definitely
goodness.
a culture shock.
I relate again so much to, so my mom died when I was 17, and I didn't really feel like I was gonna be safe in my home, like in that situation. So I decided to get married at 17. That's how I ended up going to Denver. Um, and then it was funny because in Denver, I was such a weirdo. I was like 17-year-old, married, like nobody wanted to be my friend because everybody's like going to parties and like not doing that. And I came from a Catholic country, which was like, no, this is what you do. So it's like, okay, whatever. I realized like, hey, this is not what I want to do. Go through the whole process of like getting a divorce, whatever. And then I moved to Charleston, South Carolina. I'm like 20 something. And then all of a sudden, everybody that I'm around is like married and has kids. And I'm like, oh my God, no matter what I keep doing, I keep like being an outlier. Like it's some fucked up shit.
Yep. That's exactly how it was when I got here. I was like, wow, people really don't have kids here. This is crazy. Like, I don't know what to talk about. I don't know what to say, because usually the conversation is centered around my kids. Oh, my kids do this and they do that. And now I'm just like, all right, now I have to find something else to talk about. Like, I can talk about my kids, but no one can relate to me.
That is so, no one can relate to you yet.
Yeah.
Because all them people, I bet you in the next 10 years are going to be more than likely in a different spot. Because shit, like you said, you even find yourself in a different spot today than 2 weeks ago. Because we're always changing. And then you'll be like an elder for them that can give them the advice like, yo, now I don't have kids because these are going in college and y'all just starting. And I'm going to teach you how the cows eat the cabbage.
Honestly, I can't wait.
So I
can't
love
wait.
something you shared with me that was you really started, you've been in LA for 5 years, and it really has been about 3 years where you just went deeply into kind of exploring the relationship with creativity.
Mm-hmm.
So, what inspired you to decide to go on that amazing journey?
I was living with my brother here, and I had a friend who's an amazing photographer. He was my brother's friend, actually. And we ended up just being like super close. Like he's still one of my best friends to this day. Like randomly. But we would look for shows to go to together, like free shows in the community. And we found one with this singer that we really liked. And I was like, wow, I really want to make something to wear to this show. I don't know why. It just was like, Crystal, you need to make something. Or Nikki, you need to make something like for this show. And I made this like tube top and these shorts. And I made a purse by hand. And it took me like 2 months to make this purse. Like insane. But I was so proud of myself when I finished. And that was like the first major thing that I made. And then from there on out, it just like I couldn't stop thinking about it, and unfortunately around that time is when I became like homeless. I had to move. So it kind of got put on the back burner for a while until 2018. And when I moved into my place, I was on the phone with one of my friends. And I was like, yeah, I really want to get back into my creativity and making stuff. And, it's just a little difficult because I just moved into this apartment. So all my funds went into the apartment. And they were like, hey, what's your address? I just want to see where you stay. And they surprised me with the sewing machine. So they sent me like my first sewing machine. And yeah, that's when I started experimenting. Heavily 2018 is when I just started making stuff randomly. And from there, I upgraded to another sewing machine. And I started experimenting with photography because I didn't have a photographer. I had this stuff that I was making, but no one could shoot it for me. So my son and I would go find random places in LA and he would shoot pictures of me. And I would shoot
Oh, how
pictures of
old is
myself
he?
He's 11 now.
Oh my goodness, that's awesome.
Yep.
That's
So he
so
was what,
dope.
8, 7, 8, 9 then? Yeah. So he took like my first pictures that I put on my website and they came out so good. But after that, yeah, like that's when I really was into like photography. And then like the more it went along, I realized that I like really make video. Like I love making videos. And I'm like, okay, I can make these videos with my stuff. And that's just the way to like promote myself double. And like now we are where we are today. Like I love making videos. I just started a photography page, just based off pictures I take on my iPhone. So yeah.
I love what I heard because not only are you exploring your creativity, but it sounds like while you're going through what I would consider something hard in life, because I mean, like not having a place to live, especially as a mother. I mean, I have two dogs, no kids, but I've been in the same situation where it's like, oh, okay, now where am I going to live? And that's fucking stressful. And the fact that you were able to do that with yourself and kids and still like keep exploring your creativity and just kind of like keep that idea in your head and not let it be like that little flame be exhausted by all of the shit that life can throw at us. I feel like that's so beautiful to me because it must be something that really has value to you for you to be able to like keep it through all of that, because it really, you're like safekeeping it. Be like, nope, this is something I love to do. And as soon as I have any time, like I will think about it. And when I have, more resources, like I can put like my physical body into it. And I just think that's so beautiful. And I am really fucking biased because as you may know, I'm really hyped about creativity. But I read somewhere that being creative is like having a master lock to all of these extra doors in life. Because let's say I've had this thing happen to me where I really want to go to a place, but I feel like I don't have clothes that are fitting my vibe at the time. So something I've done before is like if I don't have money to go buy something or borrow or whatever, I can like, oh, this shirt, well, I'll just cut the arms off of it and I'll just like wrap like a thing around it and like maybe I'll write something on it. And that right there, it's kind of like an extra door of, oh, well, I could do what I did when I was 16 years old and sit here and fucking cry because I don't have anything to wear. Or I
Mm-hmm.
could use my creativity and go out there. And then what ends up happening is people are always like, wow, where did you get that? Like, where can I get that shit from myself?
Yep. It's just a one of one. It's an exclusive. I made this today. That's what I tell people so often. I'm like, yeah, I just made this morning. They're like, really? Yeah.
Dude,
And
the
like I have,
future is beautiful. That one of
mhm.
one future, it's coming.
That's what I'm aspiring to now. Like that's what I'm switching up with my clothing brand. But we'll get to all that stuff.
Yeah, dude, I really think that one out of like, why not? Like in the world that we live, where like we can fucking go buy anything we want. Why not fucking buy a one out of one? And a lot of people will be like, well, I can't afford that. But it's like, I bet you can find one out of ones more affordable than you can think. And why not support somebody like a living artist like yourself rather than a multi-million dollar corporation? And it doesn't even have to be something fancy like Louis Vuitton or Gucci. Like when you buy shit from Target, like you're supporting a
Hmm.
giant company that's fucking polluting the earth, like paying people shitty wages, having like retail stores that are wasting fucking like water and resources. And why not pay somebody to put their love and time into something that only you, that was made just for you?
Yep, for your body to fit your curves. Like I don't think people realize how valuable that is. Like being able to have something that just fits you really good and you paid for that and you can wear it whenever you want. Like, yeah, and no one can ask you like, where can I go get that at? Because it's just yours. Like it's not coming back out again.
Yeah, you're never gonna see somebody with that like I think it's funny that celebrities are like, oh, that other celebrity wear my dress. And it's like, they can afford one out of ones. How come they're not buying them, you know? So I'm excited because I really feel like a lot of new art, like a new art culture is brewing, especially in LA. You know, a lot of people, especially through COVID, we've gotten this time to explore ourselves. And I feel like creativity is such a great ally to explore yourself because it gives you all these options. So as long as you're open to it, a lot of possibilities start kind of like showing themselves to you. And I don't know if you can relate to that, but it seems like it's kind of what you're going through, where you start opening the door with fashion, which is something you just naturally were attracted and loved, and now it has evolved to video. And I love something you mentioned, that you're an iPhone-ographer, because that's something that, again, the world is changing. It's not about cameras. Like, yeah, cameras are dope, but what we can do with those motherfucking phones we carry in our pockets is magic.
Crazy. Like, especially if you have an app like Photoshop, something that adds like cool effects to it, the possibilities really are endless. Like, and I'm not even an expert at Photoshop yet. Like, I just started doing my Photoshops. I can't wait. I can't wait.
Dude, it's so dope. And the nice thing about creativity too is that everybody's gonna come up with something a little bit new and something a little bit different. Now, what kind of videos do you like to make? Like comedy or
I stick to comedy and kind of like promo videos. So I usually make my own like reels and my own commercials. In the past, I've worked with some of my friends, but lately I've kind of just been to myself trying to like really dig deep and explore and see how much I can do, you know. But yeah, comedy. I like making skits. I love to make people laugh. I love clowning. Like that's my one of my favorite things to do. But to like be able to do that and incorporate my clothes, like any video I make, I try to have something on that I made or that I'm selling on my website, like whether it be an earring, necklace, hat, anything, like except for today. But yeah.
hey, don't worry, we're only doing audio, and we're definitely gonna make sure we touch up on where people can find you and all of that good stuff before we wrap up. So no worries there. But I cannot you bring up something that's really important as a creative, is you are your first client and you are your last client. And in between that, you also get to be your marketing person, your tax person, your legal attorney. I mean, you get to be all of that. And it's just so beautiful. Again, I'm so biased, but if you're creative, you're open to the experience of, like you said, well, what happens when I try to do everything? Like, can I learn to do this?
Yep, and that's what's been happening. Like even with my hats, like I make handmade hats out of yarn, like crochet hats. When I very first started back in 2018, I paid my best friend to make hats for me because I didn't know how to do it. So what happened was like last year, or yeah, last year at the end of the year or end of the summer, I had a really bad ankle injury, and I was down for a while. Like I had a boot and everything, crutches, like it was bad. And I was pissed, of course, because it was my right ankle, and that's how I operate my sewing machine with my right foot. So I couldn't make anything for a long time. And I had a commission and everything, couldn't make anything. And I taught myself how to crochet. Like I found a video on YouTube. I think I had mastered it in maybe like 3 days. And then from there, I just started selling hats. And people were like, oh, you make hats now? Let me make it. Let me get a hat. Let me get a hat. So that was like another avenue of like income that I learned because I was forced to sit down, and I didn't want to keep relying on my friend when I could just whip them out. And now, like a couple hours, I can make a hat. Like it's down now. Like I have it.
What is your favorite thing to make nowadays?
I gotta say, like, I like to tell people that I make clothes for people that like to be naked. So anything that's form fitting or showing some skin, like right now it's like spring, summertime, so I'm more on the wave of making bikini tops and crop tops
I
and
saw
like
that
short
really
shorts.
cute, blue one that you made, and you like had some additions like
Mm-hmm.
decorating like the edges of it. That looks so cute, and it looked like a velvety kind of material. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that was so dope.
that was actually one of my very first designs. Like, and my best friend called it out because I wasn't even thinking about it. Like when I first started, I was like, I can make a bikini top because it's pretty simple. And I wanted to jazz it up. So I'm like, I'm gonna make a bikini top, but I want to make the straps longer. So it kind of wraps around your stomach. And I haven't made one in probably maybe like 2 years or so. And I was just sitting down with this fabric. I was like, I want to make something. What can I make? And I was like, I'm gonna make it super long. And then my best friend saw it. She's like, hey, you used to make those when you first started. And I was like, damn, I did. Came a long way, but I mean, I came back around to it. So that's my favorite thing to make right now. Like shiny, soft, form fitting, sexy stuff, you know, for my ladies or for anybody actually. Like I don't like anybody that wants to wear my stuff can wear my stuff. Like I don't have any like man or a woman. Like this is a men's section, a women's section. Like everybody can wear what they want to wear.
If
Yeah,
you vibe, you vibe.
exactly.
I love that your style is kind of I feel like you empower people to get in touch with their body. And I feel like personally for me, that's been an interesting road. Like you said, full of some glass and some hot coals. Because I mean, like growing up, I remember like I got my mom and my aunt had like small boobs, and I just, 12, like 11 or whatever, like these giant boobs show up, and I'm just like, okay, whatever, I'm into sports. They're not very convenient for me. But then all of a sudden, I start getting all this attention of people saying, like, oh, look at your boobs, especially women. And so I grew up just being really like, I mean, my relationship with my body has been rocky.
Mm-hmm.
And lately, I've been trying to do a lot of work to kind of heal that because fuck, like it's like I don't need to hate my body. Like I really do just need to love it and appreciate it for what it is. And I love the kind of message that you bring to the table with your creativity, because it's just saying own your shit and enjoy it and have fun with it. And that too is part of being mentally healthy, spiritually healthy, and physically healthy. So I really do appreciate that you bring that energy to your creativity.
Thank you. I used to be heavier than this. Like when I first got here, my heaviest weight was like 270. And I was always very self-conscious about my body. Like I was always curvy though, but I would operate in such a way that I would kind of like try to hide my body because I felt like it was too much for some people. And once they saw my curves, like they felt they wanted to like touch or get close to me, you know, and I had a problem enforcing my boundaries, like telling people not to touch me or I don't like this, I don't like that. And it took a long time for me to get to where I am today, where I'm like comfortable in a crop top. You know, like I have stretch marks on my stomach. I used to hate it. I used to hate it. I used to try to hide it, but it's like now, okay, it is what it is. I pushed out 2 kids, you know, and like my body's just not going to stay the same. And I feel like as long as I embrace it, like it really shouldn't matter what anybody else thinks. Like what you eat is not going to make me shit. I'm sorry that my body makes you uncomfortable. Um, I mean, but it is what it is. Like I have to learn to love myself. I had to learn to love myself the way that anything that anybody else said didn't bother me. You know, and it's
I
still
agree.
a struggle. You know, it's still a struggle. You still try to catch those angles in the mirror, but for the most part, I like where I am, you know, and I know that I have the power to change that too. Like if I really don't like it, I can go exercise and just make better decisions, you know. So the power is within me. Like nobody else has power over that.
I love that message. The power is within us. We are the ones we've been waiting for to solve the motherfucking problems. Not only our problems, you know, or our opportunities, but the ones for the world. Because I personally feel like the reason a lot of people are uncomfortable with people's bodies is because we are all kind of uncomfortable with our own, because we have this fucking culture that says like, hey, this is what's wanted and everything else is like meh. And the thing is, you look around and like nobody looks the same, and when people
Mm-hmm.
start looking the same, they start becoming not interesting. And almost is kind of like boring, you know. Like diversity, in my opinion, is what makes life spicy. And maybe you don't like spicy, you know, but there are so many flavors that I really feel like what we need to be okay with is ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think that when we are ourselves publicly, and not in a way where it's like, oh, look at me, you know, like I'm better than you, because it's not about that, but just being comfortable being different. It really is so empowering and so freeing for so many people, or at least that's kind of been my experience.
I'm you know, this is a kind of an eye opener for me because like I don't want to say I mean I wasn't trying to be like an ambassador for people to own their bodies. You know, I just wanted to do what was comfortable for me. Like, okay, I'm finally comfortable with my body. I'm finally okay with like letting people see how I actually look versus just taking pictures from the neck up because that was me. Chest up, you're not seeing nothing else but this. But now I'm just like, okay, I need you to see the whole thing because it took me a while to get here. I worked very hard to get here. I bust my ass working out. And even when I slack off, I'm still the shit. Like, and you should feel that way too. Like, I encourage everybody to feel that way about themselves, you know, but
Hell yeah.
you telling me that that's what, like, I'm putting off, that kind of makes me feel good because that's not what I was trying to do. But I mean, if it's helping, then I think, I don't know, I like it. I like it. It makes me feel good.
Hell yeah. And dude, we're always inspiring ourselves, we're always inspiring other people. And same thing, like I've seen you do a lot of workout videos that have really good music on there. And I just love the way you do your workouts, because you're not like, okay, I'm gonna do 5 sets of this or whatever. You're like playing, you know, you're like kind of like throwing in some dance moves in the middle. And that reminds me of when I work out, like not in the gym or just whatever, when I just go out there and say, okay, this is my time that I dedicated to commit to putting in work that is going to make my body feel good and keep it working better for longer. Because I mean, if I want to squat let's start with working, it's really physically demanding, and you even want to be,
Really,
and if you want to be good at it at all, like you have to have flexibility and lots of strength in your
hmm
back area. And if you have that strength in your back area, you're probably never going to throw your back out, and you're never going to need a hip replacement, and you ain't going to have no knee problems. So,
yeah. People don't realize how hard twerking is. Like that can be a workout by itself. You literally won't have to do anything else if you twerk. Like so many muscles. It's yeah, a lot
it's
goes into
so
it, but
hard.
it's fun. Like I love adding dancing to my workout because it gives me a chance to have fun, but it still stretches like it still works out the muscles that I don't normally use, and it's getting me prepared for an infinite dance party, Like I don't know when I'll have an infinite dance party, but in the event that I do, I'll be prepared. When everyone else
I
is
fucking
already
love
sitting
that.
down, everyone else is already tired from dancing. I'm still gonna be on the dance floor
Hell yeah.
partying.
That is the best analogy ever. Getting prepared for the infinite dance party. Oh my god, I love that so much. Lots of times when I'm like working on like getting up without like sitting on the floor and getting up without using my hands, I always think it's like this is like when you fall down on the dance floor because you went low and you just kind of like your butt just touched, but don't worry, I can get myself up, no hands. So through your like practice of discovering your creativity, I mean, I call it a practice because you have to dedicate time throughout the day, throughout the years to practice whatever that looks like for you, whether you're creating with the intention of like having a product or just kind of messing around. But you probably get to share a lot of time with your kids, and they probably get to see you exploring your creativity and kind of changing and molding yourself and being like that flexible material, working on your like just figuring out what your vision is and making that your mission. Have you noticed that changing your kids and how they look and live their lives?
Definitely. Specifically like last summer, um, I was really in grind mode last summer. Like every opportunity I could take, I was trying to take it. And I would make something and then film something, then go shoot something. Like I was just everywhere. And it encouraged them to come to me. They came to me with a business plan on paper. And they were like, okay, mom, we want to start our own ice cream company. And this is the stuff that we like. He was like, I want to start my own ice cream company. I was like, all right, write a list. Tell me what you want to do, and he brought it to me. And I was like, okay, I feel like it's a slick way to just get ice cream, but I was like, I'm going to do it. So I went and bought all like ingredients, bought some ice cream. They were like making mock sundaes and stuff, but that let me know. I was like, damn, like they're really watching me. And everything, like my oldest son speaks life all the time. He's like, yeah, by the time we're such and such, you're gonna be rich and we're not even gonna have to do anything, or you're gonna like he really speaks positively. And he's like, yeah, so we're gonna start an ice cream company now. By the time you get older, you don't have to work because we're gonna take care of you with our ice cream company, stuff like that. And yeah, it really warms my heart to see how they're taking on that role. Like they want to have their own businesses. They want to work for themselves. They love seeing their mom work for herself. Like I know they can tell the difference between me working at a restaurant versus me being able to be at home with them, or me being able to do what I really love and be proud of my creations. Like I know they love that. And it shows, like just them coming to me like, I want to make an ice cream company. Like, that's really cool. I would have never expected. It caught me off guard. He's like, yeah, here's a list. Here's our business plan. Like, and this is stuff we need. So I was like, all right, I got you. I'm gonna go to the store and buy this stuff. And they had fun, made a mess. Um, but in the future, like that's something I would really let them do. They're actually in North Carolina right now for the summer. Um, and yeah, I was just thinking about it like a few days ago. I was like, I really should get on that. Like when they come back, like really start this. Like, look, it's warm all year in California, so we could potentially really sell ice cream, and people would buy it. Like it's two kids. Like,
Yeah. Oh my
yeah,
goodness. There are so many ideas. And the fact that you get to share this experience with them is so fucking sweet because y'all can sit there and brainstorm. And even better, you get to make prototypes of the ice cream and then try it.
yeah, yep. That's exactly what it was. Just a bunch of prototypes and mixing stuff and messes, but it was
And
fun.
then
It was fun.
and then you already have the son that has the experience doing photography. So now he can start doing like, hey, picture photography for your ice cream. And oh my goodness, that's so exciting. It's so, so sweet.
Hmm.
So, so
I feel like
sweet.
that should be his next major gift is like a camera. Because like I don't know what to buy an 11-year-old boy. Like he's kind of like at a weird age where he could play video games or still like an action figure. And I'm like, okay, maybe a camera. That might like get him to like just sit down and let me just start practicing taking pictures.
Yeah, for sure. And that's again something that both of you can share, not saying that he's gonna be wanting to be your photographer forever, because I'm
Hmm.
sure, especially going to 11 or 15 is like y'all's relationship is probably gonna change. But for now, like what a great way to learn a new skill. That's a dope gift, inspire creativity. And then again, if any business that he decides to make or be involved in is gonna need photography, let's be honest.
Hmm. Yep.
And that's why being at like just being good at using your phone is so important. I mean, we live in the motherfucking internet now. Like for real though.
Honestly, like we don't live in the real world. I tell people that I joke with people all the time. I was like, we're living in Ready Player One, and people don't realize it. Like, we're already there. We watched the movie about shit we do every day. Like, it was just an extreme, but we're there already.
Yeah, I
People
don't
want to
get
escape this
COVID if I
reality.
look at Instagram and see how other people are out there partying. Like, I'm good. But this is a good segue about podcasting. You're the host of your own podcast.
Hmm.
And I personally love podcasting because it's just one more of these gifts that technology has given me where I love running my motherfucking mouth so I can record it and then I can share it. So, what inspired you to start your podcast? And let's talk about how that's developing because you're kind of it's evolving.
Hmm. Okay. So I was just scrolling through Instagram and I saw that Sada Collective was looking for podcasters. And I was like, I think I can do this. I'm gonna apply and see what happens. And they hit me back. And I was like, oh shit. Okay. Now I have to put my money where my mouth is and come up with the concept. But it was kind of easy to come up with. Like I called my brother and we would brainstorm. I'm like, what can I talk about? Like, what's like pressing issues right now? And I was like, oh shit, well, I'll just talk about what I experienced, like how my creativity took a hit and how I had to bounce back from that during the pandemic, like I couldn't go to the store. Stores weren't open. I actually was in Texas for a little while, in the when the pandemic hit. Well, when everything was closed down, rather. I was like, shit, I can just talk about like what I went through. And I know there are other creatives that went through the same thing. Like we were probably all going crazy, especially the people that need to go to the store and pick their stuff up and they can't because the stores are closed. That was me. I couldn't go to the fabric store because the fabric stores were closed. And I was like, man, I'm having withdrawals because I just need to go touch something, you know? I need to go feel some velvet or some sequins or something. And yeah, I just had to, like, that's how that happened. We were talking about how creatives were born in the pandemic and how we used our resources as creatives to get through the pandemic. Like when nothing was open, like what did we do and how did the pandemic affect us? And that's how that went, you know. And even from the first show, like everything just progressed so quickly. Now I'm on season 2 and I'm turning into like a live show. My vision eventually is for it to be like a talk show kind of thing. So for this season, I want to do like IG live sessions where I have like a live interview, and then at the end, it'll be like we were doing on Clubhouse. We're just people are typing in and asking questions, and I'll ask my special guest questions. And I did this because like Clubhouse is cool, but I really think once people are able to see someone in their their face and their eyes and their body movements, like that's when they can relate to the person. Like, okay, I hear you, but now I see you, and this is what you look like, and this is what your smile is like, and I can see your eyes, and like I really feel like that boosts engagement, like to be able to see the person that's talking, and as they're talking, you can see how their eyes light up when they start talking about their passion, just their body language. Like I feel like all that's important, like the whole visual thing. So that's why I've decided, to leave like the Clubhouse platform and to make it more visual to where people can see like what we're talking about and who I'm talking to, and us laughing and just having a good time, fellowshipping and sharing like their experiences. Like season 2, I said, is for the hustlers. Like these is for like my creative hustlers, because there are people out there that have like 4 and 5 gigs to support their main dream, that are willing to take any gig to support that dream, and that's the people that I want to shout out. Those are the people I want to talk to, because the world needs to see that there's someone out there that's going through the same thing that might be feeling lost, and they don't know that they have people that are doing the exact same thing, that they're taking this avenue to make it work. And all it takes is for someone to see that to change their day, to change their life. And that's my goal.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. I'm so excited. And first thing that came up for me hearing you say that is I recently read a book that was talking about communication and how 60% of human communication is not verbal. It has nothing to do with words or speaking. It's your like the physical component of communicating, because like you said, like I'm talking with my hands right now and my eyes, like my face is like, it'll tell you everything about me. Like my eyes just go crazy, like I'm always like shaking my head. And you're right, you can't hear that, you can only see it, and that gives you so much more information. So that's really cool. And I would say probably that most creative people are really visual people, or the more you develop that creative skill, the more visual you become naturally, I would dare say that. And then, man, I love what you mentioned about the hustlers and how so many people are feeling lost because we have this idea of being an artist means, for example, for me, being a painter means that I have to have a studio somewhere. I need to make like 10 things for a gallery to be like, okay, well, this is a set of birds that she made, and I have to paint fucking pictures of the beach or whatever. And the thing is, like, no, you can be whatever and whomever you want. And that's the whole point of creativity, is mixing different mediums, different ideas, and kind of making it your own remix of whatever you choose to be. And I love that you're giving a platform to show people how others have done it, how we are all doing it. Because I would say, so you do fashion design, you do video, you do photography, but at the end of the day, that all adds up to your vibe, or what people like to call your aesthetics. And I feel like if you went around, like anybody who says like they're a professional creative or an artist, just somebody that has devoted more time to, again, practicing creativity. You look around the houses or how they live their lives, how they structure their day, the food they eat, and you can just really find that freedom that the creativity gives you in all those little areas, because you're no longer being like, "Ooh, how do I become an artist? Oh, I missed step two. Like, I'm not wearing a beret." You know, it's like, I don't need no fucking beret. Like, just be yourself. And that at the end of the day is the best message. Just be yourself to your fullest extent.
Mm-hmm.
Not spoken dope.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So we're coming up to time. So let's talk about where can people find you.
Okay, so I have like 4 Instagram pages, but I'll give you like my main 2. So my personal Instagram is call me __ Nikki. That's CALLME, 2 underscores NIKKI. And then my business for my clothing company is don't want to be famous. That's going to be at _ don't want to be famous, all one word.
And anybody,
yep, my website, don't want to be famous.com. You can email me from there. You can email me from any of those pages. Like, I have my email address. If you want to text me, you can text me. I do like customizations. You just hit me. Like, anything you got in mind, I'm always up for a challenge.
I love that. So if anybody's got any creative projects in mind, you're liking the vibe, hit her up. And guys, any guys and girls listening, if you have any project in mind, go for it. I mean, I don't know. What would you say to people that are maybe listening to this and being like, okay, well, I've always wanted to try this, you know?
Try it. Like, try it. When I first got here, like, when I said that homelessness really like threw me back, it really did. And it inspired me to start this. I started like a charity when I first got here. It was called Souls for Shoes. And I collected socks and shoes to just give out to random homeless people. And because of my circumstances, it kind of fell through. But I tried, and I tried to make a difference. I still have like socks and shoes that I give out like randomly every once in a while, but try it. Like, it's not like, I don't know, what's the worst that can happen? That's what I feel. Like, as long as you don't die, you live, to try something else. And you can be peaceful and know that you tried, versus like, I let fear keep me back. And fear really isn't even a real thing. You can't see it, you can't touch it. It's all in your mind, and I feel like it'll ultimately help you sleep better knowing that you tried.
Hell yeah. And I love what you just mentioned about, if you're not sure to do something for yourself, do something that could benefit others. Because for real there, how could you even go wrong? Unless you're doing something against yourself to help somebody else, which, yeah, don't do that. But get creative and think about something that meets those few requirements. Go live your life, man.
Yeah, honestly, like, try it. If you want to move from South Carolina to California and drive, do it. Like, why not? Especially if you don't have any strings attached. Like, you can just get up and go, pack your dogs, pack your cat or whatever, and just leave. Like, anybody that tells me they're thinking about moving, I'm like, hey, try it. Come with some money, but try it. Like, don't come out here broke, because you're gonna leave immediately. You have to come with some money to be able to, like, you have to come with some savings at least, unless you know somebody here, or unless you like really on your shit once your feet touch the ground in California. Like, yeah. But for a cushion, I would always say come with money, just in case. You're gonna want to party. You're gonna want to party when you first get here.
Hey, you gotta balance the work-life balance, party and work. Well, hell yeah, Nikki. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I love I love getting to have conversations with people that I've never, I mean, like I met you before, you know, but never really got to talk to you about your story and like where you came from and, you know, what you really do and think of life. And I always love, in the end, I feel like we could have known each other for years. It's so cool. And that's something that I love about doing the podcast. And I'm so happy that you are doing a podcast too. And so excited to see how you continue to develop and grow. And happy to be there with you, dude.
Thank you. I appreciate your words, for real. I really enjoyed this interview. I don't get to talk about myself that often, you know, but yeah, it's always good to check in with yourself. This for me was like checking in with myself, sharing my goals and my aspirations with you. Like, all right, Crystal, damn, you've come kind of far. Like, you realize you drove from North Carolina, you were homeless, and now you're here. You have your own clothing brand, you have a podcast, you just like got another job. Like, you have all your hands, like your hands in all these different pots, and it's gonna lead to something good, you know. And I'm
Investing
like,
in
damn.
yourself. Investing in yourself and just really becoming devoted to nourishing yourself as a physical person, your mind and your spirit, which I feel like creativity is my spiritual health. Because when I connect to what I can create and how I can like influence my own life, it changes my whole world. So if that's not playing God, I don't know what is. No, I'm not trying to say I'm God or anything, but you know.
Yeah, I understand.
Nikki, thank you so much. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Big love.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Have a good one.
Hey, you too.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Mindfully Curious podcast. Again, my name is Steph at Rabbit Legion. Please make sure to check show notes for the links on how to connect to the guests and myself. Just a quick update on my life. I am struggling with a learning opportunity from life right now. Got a lot of good things, a lot of heavy things going on all at the same time. And I just wanted to share that having this podcast to produce can be both a blessing and it can also overwhelm me. But I trust in the universe, and maybe this sounds super ridiculous, but I was thinking about maybe cutting this podcast season down to maybe make this the last episode. But I had a beautiful guest contact me. I continue to have people who are just amazing contacting me, wanting to be on the show. And that right there is something that keeps me going, getting to share this with everybody. It's beautiful. And it's also a beautiful chance for me to learn about my boundaries, where I want to put my energy and what I want to do with all of that. And I know, because I feel how important creativity has been in my life, and mindful creativity, the practice of creating with intention, has been so transformational in my life, and I believe it has the ability to become transformational in all of our lives, taking the reins back on our power to create. All of us humans, we are creating our life with every breath we take. And I know that taking that sovereignty over making my decisions and honoring what I truly want and how I truly feel has been the best motherfucking thing I've ever tried, that I've ever done. It really keeps me healthy in my mind, in my body, and in my soul. So, thank you for letting me share that reflection with you guys. I look forward to bringing you the next episode. And yeah, I don't know if this season will make it to 10 episodes, to 11. I don't know. I don't want you to be surprised if it ends up being less than 11. just because I do want to give myself that wiggle room if I need to create more space for processing my emotions and everything that I'm going through right now, the situations that I put myself there for on purpose, and the ones that are coming at me with a purpose that I am not yet aware of. So, thank you so much for letting me share that with you. I love you so, so much. And I cannot wait to talk to you. Big love, everyone.